Go live now to Laura Blumenfeld, Middle East analyst and former senior policy advisor on the State Department's Israeli-Palestinian negotiating team. Thank you for being here. What do you make of what we saw last night in this presumed Israeli strike on Iran?
Well, I would say that the scales of rough justice are back in balance. The tangibles on both sides, from the Iranian strike and the Israeli counterstrike, tangibles are 0 dead and minimum damage. But I think what's really fascinating are the intangibles. I mean, who would have thought that World War III would be averted through compelling storytelling, right? Because that's how we're avoiding a further escalation. The Iranians are saying strike, what strike? And the Israelis make it sound like, a scene from The Godfather where the guy wakes up with a horse head in his bed and he's terrified because he knows that, the long arm of Israeli justice can reach you anywhere at any time.
So you think there's some messaging here? We've hardly heard confirmation from either side about what exactly is going on. Israel hasn't confirmed that it carried out a strike. Iran seems to be downplaying it. Do you think that is specifically designed to de-escalate the situation?
Absolutely. It was like an immaculate attack with, no real engagement. An American official said to me today, I'm not going to talk about last night. So, if that's what it takes to get us to, a better day, then so be it.
All right. Well, I guess the question is then, where are we now in terms of escalation? Are we expecting there to be more strikes, or could this now bring at least some relative pause in this tit for tat?
Well, pause, but I still am concerned. I feel like what happened this past, couple of weeks really is there's a kind of retaliation inflation where the price of payback has gone up and taboos have been broken. There's a couple of other things that make me uneasy. I'm still wondering, in this kind of regional play, awful play, everyone's had their moment where they stepped into center stage except Hezbollah. So I'm sort of waiting to understand what's happening there. They were the people who really gave Israeli military planners night sweats. So I'm wondering, are they going to come in? And I also have a feeling, and I heard it from your report from Jerusalem or from Israel, this feels more like a down payment on Israel payback. I'm not sure if they have something else planned. I mean, maybe for the future, but it does leave me uneasy.
Interesting. And what about the target itself? This region, this city, Isfahan, it's has many potential targets. We talked about some of them. There are nuclear facilities there. Was that sending a message by Israel? We know that Prime Minister Netanyahu has long been an opponent of Iran developing a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, Netanyahu had to take his shot, right? I mean, he got that sort of body blow on October 7th. And it's interesting. Maybe this, in fact, will lead us toward the end of this entire war, including in Gaza. I don't think Netanyahu was going to rest until he took a shot at Iran. Americans were calling it a signal, not a strike last night. And it's like messenger pigeon missiles are just dropping, signals back and forth. But if it takes us to the next step, I think that's good. I am optimistic because it looks like that you can possibly turn this focus on an end game of Iran and use that to guide Israelis to an end game in Gaza, right? The Israelis were never really going to be motivated by Gaza. They're entirely motivated, though, and focused on Iran. So this coalition that sprang into action last weekend really could be the motivation, that will bring Israel moderate its behavior, right? Sort of be more strategic in Rafah, increase humanitarian aid. And their deal supposedly is reasonable, the one on the table. It's now Hamas that's frustrating the ceasefire.
Where do you think this all puts the United States, a very strong ally, of course, of Israel going forward?
Well, I memean, they've been following this kind of international theory of bear hug, right? Strategic squeezing. And some say, well, Israel isn't listening, but it has worked. I mean, they went for a pinpoint strike this week. We've seen much more humanitarian aid. They're agreeing to what they're calling a conditions-based invasion of Rafah, which probably looks like there never really will be a full-scale assault. It's going to be much more pinpoint. So, it's taken a lot of kind of carrots and sticks and pushing and backpedaling, but I think they're getting there.
What about Iran? Could we see any engagements with Iran? We know that Iran is behind several different proxies in the region. You mentioned Hezbollah. We've seen issues with the Houthi rebels attacking maritime shipping. Is there any chance that this could lead to some sort of engagement with Iran?
Well, once again, I think it's the Arab states. I always think of them as like the swing states on this bloody referendum on the Abraham Accords. and they're playing a key role. And what we found out last Saturday night is they hate Ayatollah Khamenei more than they hate Bibi Netanyahu. Right. So that's why they were willing to kind of put aside the Palestinian issue, although they care about it deeply, and rally with the Israelis. That was a real game changer. Everyone talks about how Iran attacking Israel on their own soil is a game changer, but don't forget who was pushing back. That was a game changer, too.
Lots of moving pieces there. Laura Blumenfeld, Middle East analyst, former senior policy advisor on the State Department's Israel-Palestinian negotiating team. Thank you very much.
Thank you.